As ambiguous as she is hideous, Baba Yaga is an unusual figure. In Slavic folklore, she is both a maternal, Mother Nature figure and an evil villain who kidnaps and eats children. Numerous versions of her tale show her as a harbinger of transformation, possessing the power to either assist or block those who cross her path, and eating those who fail to satisfy her demands. An alternative portrayal is of a wicked witch from Russian and Slavic legends. Baba Yaga is depicted as flying through the forest within a giant mortar and pestle. Taking her ambiguity to another level is the fact that in some tales, she can be interpreted to be a probable goddess. Though the origins of her name are as unclear as her purpose tends to be, it is believed that Baba means something akin to old woman or grandmother, while the meaning Yaga is said to mean anything from snake to wicked. Regardless, even Baba Yaga's name emphasizes the strangeness of her person, making her an interesting character to decipher. The story of Baba Yaga was first recorded in writing in 1755, though legends about her appeared far earlier and can be evidenced in artworks from at least the 17th century. Modern-day interpretations, such as Into the Forest tales of the Baba Yaga, have emphasized her role as a possible proto-feminist icon. The most common portrayal of Baba Yaga is as either one old woman or a trio of old sisters, all of whom are depicted as skinny, with iron teeth and noses so long that they touch the ceiling when they sleep. Baba Yaga is commonly illustrated as riding around on a mortar rather than a broom, wielding a pestle as both a flying aid and a wand. Stories about the Baba Yaga abound, with most of them taking place within her hut located deep in the woods. To make the story even more eerie, legend has it that her hut was surrounded by a fence made of human bones and stood on magical chicken legs with a rooster's head on top. Tales about Baba Yaga often describe brave heroes daring to enter her small hut and find her lying across her cooking stove. The stove is said to be so large that it stretches from one side of the hut to the other, quietly showing how powerful and magical she is. The stove is another common detail included in tales of the Baba Yaga, as the location where her victims are cooked and eaten. Despite an ambitious appetite, however, Baba Yaga is always portrayed as skinny and bony, with her own nickname, the Bony One. The majority of well-known narratives featuring Baba Yaga revolve around the heroes who cross her path, rather than on her own adventures. It is the characterization of Baba Yaga that contributes to much of the ambiguity surrounding her. She shifts between being a helpful guide and a dangerous enemy, sometimes assisting the heroes of Slavic folklore and other times standing in their way. While it seems that Baba Yaga never initiates any confrontations, as she only reacts when someone ventures to her hut, her moral compass appears to be all but absent. Yet regardless of her questionable ethics, she remains true to her word and keeps whatever promise she makes to the hero who triumphantly completes her assigned tasks. The eerie and unpredictable nature of Baba Yaga only adds to the gripping mystery of her character, making her encounters with Slavic heroes all the more thrilling and unpredictable. In the story Vasilisa the Beautiful, Vasilisa is a Cinderella-like character with a magical doll given to her by her late mother. After her mother dies, her father remarries a cruel woman with equally unkind daughters. When her father leaves on a trip, the stepmother sells their home and moves the family to a cottage in the woods, where she gives the girls impossible chores to complete by candlelight. When the fire goes out, Vasilisa is sent by her stepsisters to fetch more. This journey leads her to Baba Yaga, who agrees to give her fire, but only if Vasilisa can complete a series of difficult tasks. With the help of her magical doll, Vasilisa manages to finish every task. As a reward, Baba Yaga gives her a burning skull lantern to take home, but the fire inside the skull is so powerful that it burns her wicked stepmother and stepsisters to ashes. Vasilisa's story, it ultimately concludes when the Tsar of Russia, or sometimes the king, depending on which version of the story you hear, falls deeply in love with her. This provides that classic happily ever after ending. But what really stands out in the story is Baba Yaga's mysterious role. In this tale, Baba Yaga is both a threat and a helper. Without her lantern, Vasilisa would have remained trapped in a life of cruelty. Yet Baba Yaga's way of helping is, harsh and unsettling. Her aid comes at a price: grueling tasks, terrifying conditions, and the violent deaths of Vasilisa's family. Unlike the gentle fairy godmother in the classic Cinderella story, Baba Yaga feels closer to the darker characters of folklore. Like the stepmother who forces her daughter to cut her own foot to fit the glass slipper, Baba Yaga goes far beyond simply rescuing Vasilisa. She causes fear, suffering, and death in the process. Her actions leave a haunting impression, raising questions about her true motives and the moral gray area she inhabits. Baba Yaga is also cast as a Mother Earth figure, having an influence on the natural world through 3 of her servants, as witnessed by Vasilisa. Twice, Vasilisa sees 3 riders, the first white, the second red, and the third black. Upon asking who they were, Baba Yaga replies that they are day, the sun, and night, respectively, each controlled by her. This particular episode of the story showcases the vast extent of Baba Yaga's power, hinting that she possessed the ability to liberate Vasilisa from her family's grasp with less extreme measures. However, her decision to employ such gruesome tactics emphasizes her malevolent nature and a propensity for ruthless behavior. Another fable featuring Baba Yaga involves 2 hapless peasant children who are victimized by a tyrannical stepmother. In this narrative, the wicked stepmother sends the children to Baba Yaga's abode, hoping to be rid of them for good. The resourceful youngsters are aided in their escape by the animals, plants, and objects Baba Yaga has neglected. A black cat helps them plan their escape, as they had been feeding him while Baba Yaga had not. A gate shuts Baba Yaga out because she had neglected it. Even the forest trees obstruct her path because of her similar mistreatment. The children successfully return home unharmed, and Baba Yaga abandons her pursuit when it becomes too difficult. Again, this tale ends happily, with the father banishing the cruel stepmother and protecting his children. Once more, Baba Yaga's role is that of an obstacle, only bothering the children because they first trespassed into her domain. This illustrates a paradoxical aspect of Baba Yaga's character, as she is often regarded as a deity who embodies the power and unpredictability of Mother Nature. Despite being considered a deity akin to Mother Nature, the natural world still turns against her due to the pain she has inflicted upon it. This is one of the reasons why scholars find it challenging to categorize her, as she falls into many different roles and demonstrates contradictory traits. Moreover, many people believe Baba Yaga to be a protagonist. They believe that portraying Baba Yaga as wholly evil is motivated by misogyny. One writer in her article on Baba Yaga writes, "The intriguing question for me is, at what point then did Baba Yaga become wholly evil? It can probably be explained by no small amount of historical and modern misogyny, and can tell us more about ourselves and women in history than we'd perhaps care to admit." Think of the witch trials across England and America around the 17th century, whose victims were almost entirely older women, and societally mistrusted ones at that. These were killings across the country against a very specific kind of person, female, often elderly, the very kind that Baba Yaga engenders. Far from celebrating the knowledge and wisdom held by these marginal figures, they were mistrusted and denounced when possible. Baba Yaga cannot clearly be killed outright. However, she can definitely be reassigned to the shadows, presented purely in the archetypal evil witch's role by a culture whose interests lie in subjugating her kind. In the modern day, in some rural parts of Russia, Ukraine, and other Slavic countries, elders tell stories of mysterious old women who live deep in the forest, resembling Baba Yaga. These women are sometimes described as having strange, unusual features, living in huts that seem to move or stand on chicken legs, appearing suddenly and testing travelers. Baba Yaga was treated as a real threat to misbehaving children. For example, Chris Spicak's grandmother avoided forests as a child, fearing Baba Yaga's presence, reflecting how the figure was used to enforce moral lessons. Similarly, a Philadelphia-based artist, Sarah Sanford, grew up with her mother's stories of Baba Yaga and later incorporated the witch into a theatrical exploration of dementia, blurring lines between myth and personal legacy. Furthermore, some people practicing Slavic neo-paganism, witchcraft, or shamanism report encountering Baba Yaga in dreams or visions. For example, feeling her presence during meditation, receiving guidance or warnings from her spirit, or seeing her in symbolic forms like an old woman or a forest spirit. For instance, a blogger named Jack Chanik describes a devotional relationship with Baba Yaga, making offerings of vodka and chicken bones and wearing a skull ring as part of his worship. He recounts a vision where Baba Yaga's hut outlasted the heat death of the universe, suggesting her as a primordial force beyond deities. Another example is Taisha Kitayskaya, who wrote an advice column called Ask Baba Yaga, Channeling the Witch's Voice. While not a direct sighting, Kitayskaya treats Baba Yaga as a spiritual guide, blending folklore with modern existential questions. Moreover, many people have made supernatural claims regarding Baba Yaga. On platforms like Reddit, TikTok, and paranormal forums, People sometimes share creepy or unexplained encounters in forests or near abandoned cabins that they associate with Baba Yaga's legend. Shadowy figures spotted at night, sounds of a woman cackling or chanting in the woods, feeling watched or followed on solitary walks. Similarly, the Starlight Witch on Patheos described childhood dreams of Baba Yaga as a maternal yet terrifying figure, suggesting a psychological or spiritual manifestation. This, therefore, leaves room for the question, is Baba Yaga just a myth, or could she in fact be real? I think a better question is Baba Yaga a villain or a protagonist? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.